and viewers who are watching us live on Facebook and YouTube. A very warm welcome to all the Saga series. A quick recap for those of you who are new to Pick a Book. Pick a Book is all about reading and inculcating the habit of reading, research, and presenting the summary of it in our regular meeting sessions. Creating a better world by changing the sense of self through the habit of reading is the vision of Pick a Book. Currently, Pick a Book marked its inspiring presence in four countries: Sri Lanka, India, Singapore, and UK, with over 1,200 plus readers, 19 regions, and 100,000 plus people inspired through our sessions. While Pick a Book continues to spread its wings across the globe, we have come up with this new initiative, a brand of our own called All the Saga series, wherein the authors can reach their readers and individuals with like minded interests. Authors can also discuss the key insights of their books, and readers can have this wonderful opportunity to know more about the book from the author himself and herself. So today we have two authors with us with their wonderful poetic compilation titled The Verses of the Universe. So Shweta Hitesh Joshi is a poet who brings out passion and to her words, and her unique style brings out both the inner dilemma and the outer chaos. Okay, she is an audacious reader of culture, religion, and literature. She began her literature journey as an editor of a planned Pandemic 2020, a children's book. Okay, she has advised poet and fiction authors can on creative ideas and flow, and has edited a short story book, A City Full of Stories, and Ponder 2020, a poetry review collection. Okay, so before her literary pursuits, Shweta has a long career in business consulting, human resource teaching, and recruitment, and she loves to indulge in saris, books, and coffee. She lives in Bangalore, India, and her husband Hitesh Joshi and daughter Omisha. So with her husband. Okay. So quickly, let's get to know about the other author, Ashok Subramanian. Started writing poems and blogs since 2011. He published his poetry collection, uh, Poetry Volume 1 and 2 in 2020, A City Full of Stories, a short story collection based on events and people of Mumbai, and his poetry review collection, Ponder 2020. He was contributing writer for the Coffee Table book, Maritime Heritage of India, created by Indian Navy and published by the Prime Minister of India in 2016. Ashok is an avid reader of fiction, non-fiction, and poetry, and a long-distance runner. So he runs an investment consulting and strategic advisory company based in India, and he lives in Chennai with his wife Gayatri and son Anirudh. Quickly, let's join our hands in welcoming Mr. Ashok and Shweta onto the panel. And
Hi, Swarna.
hey, hello. It's a pleasure having you with both of you
Yeah,
tonight with us. Thank you. And first of
thank
all, we take this privilege in
you.
congratulating you both on this wonderful book. And we wish you both a long way in writing.
Thank you.
Okay. So were you are you both an avid readers? And to start with you, Mr. Ashok. So were you an avid reader? Are you
Yeah,
into books from your very young age?
absolutely. If I'm an introvert by nature, yeah, even though I have good friends, I love books because books give me the space that I want, the place that I want to live or go, and I can imagine characters that I want to be or I love or I hate. Fiction was my first go to book, but my work, my job took me to non-fiction
Mm-hmm.
in terms of reading personal excellence and personal development books. But eventually, I felt that everybody talks about their own experience,
Okay.
so I gave up. I have given up books on personal experience, personal development and all, because I feel that they're good books. I think they are in fact selling more than any other books today. But I think I have rediscovered my passion in reading fiction books because I have started writing fiction now.
Okay.
Yeah. So going back, I read right from my middle school days to college, and then my post graduation, and then everywhere I have been a reader of books. I carry one book in my bag
Okay.
wherever I go, and so in fact I love waiting. Most people don't love to wait for meetings or appointments. I love the gaps because I sit and read. I don't like to drive. I like being driven. Love traveling in a bus or a tram or a train because I get to read. So I squeeze in reading times wherever possible, except for the recent past where I've become a little addicted to Netflix. Otherwise, otherwise, books are my favorite
Wonderful.
go-to.
Great to know that. Okay. So how did you, start your journey as a writer? So when did it all happen? Like,
Mm, See, I used to write poetry when I was pretty young. I had a diary. I remember the diary. I lost it somewhere because we shifted, our home so much. And so, but my actual take on writing started in 2011. So I was a blogger, and I used to write poems on Facebook. So
okay.
if you happen to scroll my Facebook page to 2011, you'll find a lot of poems snippets. They're
Mhm.
still there. They appear as memories these days in my Facebook wall.
Okay.
And I used to write blogs. So blogs were my first blog was about a cup of tea. A random cup of tea. From there it slowly started building, building narratives around experiences, views, and slowly, some of them start taking the shape of a story. Okay,
Okay.
personal experience started taking the shape of a story. So, and in fact, one of the books I wrote, the first two three books I've written are basically a takeoff from my own blogs.
Hmm.
So somebody advised me to dismantle the blogs because in 2017, because if I am trying to publish, having the story online doesn't work. So I ended up taking down my blog. I have a new blog in Medium.
Okay.
So today I write, to fast forward to today, I write poetry. Poetry is my mainstay.
Okay.
And I think I get frustrated very fast during the
Hmm.
day. So if I don't find anybody to jump on, I end up writing a poem. Then That's how my poems have evolved, mostly out of frustration or ecstasy. Um, uh, Poetry review, which is my second, that is the only non-fiction I write. That
Okay.
was inspired by Shweta, because one of her poem really brought me down to tears, and
Hmm.
I thought I should record my experience about that poem, so I put it out in my blog, and it
Okay.
turned out to be one of my really better writing experiences. So from
Okay.
there on, as I mentioned, I've written about reviews of about 50 poems of almost 34 poets across the world.
Oh,
Every continent you can think of: Africa, Australia, Asia, Europe, and
okay.
the US and Canada. So I've written reviewed poetry of all types. And my second book on that review, Ponder 2021, is going to come sometime this year.
Okay.
The third genre I write is short fiction. And
Hmm.
short fiction, we have three books on the table. One is already published, which is A City Full of Stories, creative advised and edited by Shweta as well. Then we have, as I told you, we are working on a manuscript around the Ramayan. So there are a lot of interesting characters and situations which I think a standard narrative of Ramayan wouldn't bring out. So
Mhm.
we are adding fiction without disturbing the mainstay of the story. Uh, but it is also a modern narrative of those characters and situations, as seen by people of today.
Okay.
Times change, so the narrative will have to change. So we are renaming. We are the working title of the book is called Retold. Uh,
Okay.
then the third book that we have on the table is A City Full of Stories 2, which is again based on uh, uh, events and people of Calcutta. Again, that's with Shweta for her review. It's gone into a creative editing mode now. So
Okay.
you'll hear more from on those two books as we go along. So that's it.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. That's wonderful. And coming to you, Shweta, were you from the literary background? Like, how did your journey as a writer start?
So primarily, no, I am not from literary background. MBA, and then I went into consult. I'm sorry, uh, visible right now.
Yeah, visible. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So to business consulting and academia, my interest grew over a period of time. Reader, I do not read fiction unless
Mm-hmm.
I jumped on story two. So what? I'm sorry, and that's how the journey started. Slowly building. And during the pandemic, I
Okay.
got to edit a book which is written by a kid. Actually, wanting to write around pandemic and how it would be the world post the pandemic, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how editing the books. Then act first happened,
Mm-hmm.
then slowly ponder and
Okay. Wonderful. Okay, so since the title of this book is so unique, how did you both come up with it, and what exactly? I just not sure how to pronounce this. It's just poetarati, is it? Poetarati
Right,
means
Rati.
poetrati. Okay, so what does that mean actually? How did you bring such a unique title to this? So what's the story behind?
naming of all our projects 1, 2, 3. Or the naming of the book is credited to Ashok. I mean, he's the idea behind the titles of the book, and book should move and what should be the creative flow.
Okay.
He's the one.
Okay, poetrati is an inspired name from the word literati, which is literati is essentially a set of people who understand literature.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, poetrati is a set of people
Okay.
who understand poetry,
Poetry. Okay.
understand and appreciate poetry. So, poetrati is not a name, but it's a derived name.
Mm-hmm.
So, volume three is because I have published volume one and two before. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the title of the book actually is Verses of this Universe. So, this essentially, the book, if you see, is a inward and outward exploration of both of us, Shweta and I, in terms of exploring the inner self, the heart in particular, and also connecting and questioning the events and the emotions in the universe. So that's why the title we derived as
Yes.
verses of this universe. So
Okay.
it's a journey of exploration and introspection.
Oh, okay, okay. Wonderful. So yes, it's also like the book is divided into five chapters, right? So what is what are those like? What each briefly. I mean, what each
Sure, sure.
chapter talks about.
So the first chapter is called Deep Inside the Human. So as I told you, the
Mhm.
poetry there, around 9 poems there explore the inner feelings, inner elements of a human,
Mhm.
and it talks about mostly these are introspective poems. Introspective poems,
Okay.
poems that search within. That's
Mhm.
the first chapter. Second is called Matters of the Heart. As you know, Matters of the Heart is typically driven around love as an emotion,
Mhm.
mostly romantic, but also other elements of love. Also, the pain of being alone. So it covers various aspects of the heart. So that's why it's called Matters of the Heart. These two are the ones that are inward looking chapters.
Mhm.
Conversation with the Universe is an outward looking chapter where we talk about the social and the human human interaction elements of. So there are about 15-20 poems around. This is the largest chapter.
Okay.
There's about social and human interaction elements. The fourth one, which is the highlight of this book, is what we have attempted to do.
Okay.
It's called Art Meets Art, an ekphrasis journey. So this talks about. We attempted writing poems around some of the artistic creations of people we know, so who are basically photographers and painters.
Mhm.
So artists. So we brought that out in about 7 or 8 poems. So ekphrasis is a concept where is typically used in museums, where
Okay.
for example, you have Mona Lisa. Everybody knows Mona Lisa, but
Mhm.
what does Mona Lisa resemble? What does it actually mean? So when people write about that, there is a lot of 2-3 plagues around the Mona Lisa painting. So the contents of those plagues are what we call as ekphrasis writings. So
Oh,
ekphrasis poems are around around works of art, sculptures, paintings, photographs.
okay.
The last chapter of the book is called "In the Lap of Nature." So this is again, looking at the world as it is, enjoying the beauty and connecting
Mhm.
human emotions. How we look at a sunrise or a rain,
Okay.
evening tranquility. So it explores that. So around again 12 to 15 poems in that space. Totally, there are 61 poems in 5 chapters.
Okay, that's wonderful. I mean, each chapter talking about a different emotion and, almost covering up all the important emotions in those 5 chapters. That sounds so beautifully interesting as well. And Shweta, coming to, from common man's point of view, like poetry is not a very common genre. Like, usually there is a myth or something that, poetry is like difficult to understand. Only very few people who have got the taste of it will be able to understand it. So how did you guys have taken care to reach this, to make it reachable to a common person?
So it's an interesting question. So primarily, if you ask me, I used to scribble what you call poems, as as a school magazines, and the last 2 decades or more than that, I have. So what happened during pandemic
Okay.
that I had a job and I was on a long break, and have this wonderful groups on social media who give you word of the day kind of
Mm.
thing, and you have to write on them. So I would,
Okay.
start scribbling, or why not start writing again, because I have nothing else. The world was locked off. I didn't have a job, and we were all full time at home. I started
Okay.
writing. The unique thing about these writings of you may call it my writing or Ashok's writing, is that not
Mm.
binded by a set of rules.
Okay.
very laymanish. The flow is natural,
Mm-hmm.
and our because the book is written during the long, most of us very, you know set of
Okay.
emotions or cycle.
Mm.
The book is,
Yeah.
is something anyone or everyone can relate to. You said you felt your loved one is gone, a kind of exodus, and then locked in the room. How would you feel? What would you feel when you are quarantined, or someone you loved
Mm-hmm.
is quarantined or under lock, or they have more emotions. Then the poem which talks about,
Oh.
one day we have a hope,
Mm-hmm.
so on
Mm-hmm.
and so forth.
Wonderful. Great.
That's something
Thank you
that
so much on that. And yeah, that was wonderful. Okay. Mr. Ashok, if I would ask you, your what would be your choice, like, of being an author or being a poet? So what is your choice, like?
I think poetry is first, to be honest,
Okay.
because poetry is more my go-to thing.
Okay.
It is like drinking a glass of water. It's as simple as that.
Okay.
I write one of my books, future books, is essentially a complicated storyline in the
Mm-hmm.
form of poetry. So
Okay.
that's where Shweta and I have planned a more exhaustive approach to poetry,
Okay.
like how you do for a novel. So that's not going to be what we call as handkerchief poetry, but
Mm-hmm.
mostly if you see the poems written by Shweta or me are essentially spur of the moment, extempore,
Okay.
and spontaneous. I think these are the elements that have driven the poetry in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Our editing has been very minimal in terms of we have not replaced any word. It went through some 4 5 edits, but it we never changed any word because a word is supposed to mean something at that point in time. So we have
Mm.
kept the originality of the spontaneity
Okay.
when we edit it. So,
Mm-hmm.
long story short, poetry is my go-to thing. But having said that, my evolution is in fiction, um,
Okay.
and that's why we work. I mean, it's a hard work. Fiction is hard work because even though you may think about a story, but when you write it as a prose, there are
Mm.
many things that come into play. But poetry is like a beautiful flower pot in your balcony. You can always look at it whenever you want.
Mm. True.
Uh,
True.
yeah, prose is like full scape garden. It needs a garden.
Mm.
You need 10 people to fix it.
Yeah.
So poetry is my go-to thing.
Wonderful. Great. Okay. So Shweta, and how do you? I mean, you're like a writer. It usually said that a writer has to be a good reader and a listener. So, how much do you agree on that point?
Now, yes, uh, reader can you are not, if you have not started reading today, couple of
Mhm.
times you are bound to read because you once published writer or author in the market, what kind of writing is going on, who writes what, so that would
Okay.
eventually happen. The foremost thing is to be able to decipher,
Hmm.
and to be able to the paper. That is the first
Okay.
quality. Reading would happen eventually.
Hmm. Great. Uh,
I, I
oh no, I thought there's a break in the voice because
Yeah,
you. Yeah, there's some technical issue now and then popping up from your window. So yeah, okay, that's great. Okay,
could be possible
so
because I'm
huh,
remotely placed.
okay, okay, no problem. Okay, so Mr. Ashok, coming to you, like what is that piece of advice you want to give to someone who is wanting to write or publish their poetry?
See, publishing is a journey by itself.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Now, writing is also a journey by itself. But when they come together, is
Mm-hmm.
when you feel that there's a sense of accomplishment when you publish a book. You can ask Shweta about it, because I've been through that door 4 times now, and
Mm-hmm.
Shweta is the debutant here, so you can
Yes.
ask her experience on how she feels when she's published. So in terms of see, there's no standard piece of advice.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody can today. I think there are a lot of opportunities available for anybody who is writing to publish. Right from self-publishing to partnered publishing to traditional publishing. The multiple
Mm-hmm.
avenues open. Uh,
Yes.
but in my experience, especially in this book, since we are talking about verses of this universe, I think I had a wonderful experience partnering with Vandana of Highbrow Scribes.
Mm-hmm.
The most important thing is, I think we need to know what we need to achieve at the end of a publishing book. If you're happy about just publishing, then I think it's a simple job. But
Yeah.
the publishing is the first of many steps, because you have a responsibility now to get your book to your audience. So that is a big task by itself. So writing, publishing, and then promotion, you want to call that, or making your readers aware that you're out there with a good piece of your writing.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so long story, it has to be an experience that you should go for. Publishing is an important thing, because once you're published, your outlook towards the world changes. You're not very casual about your work.
Yeah.
uh, the work has to be top quality. So that I always say that in other interviews also, I've said this: author is a team. So for example, today I am what I am because of Shweta and Swarna. So we three form a team. And I also have support from my son Anirudh, who is also
Mm-hmm.
uh, video editor. So somewhere he also guides me in terms of to keep my presence alive in social media, because I'm happy writing. As a writer, I'm happy writing. But once you're published, uh, you are not a writer alone anymore. You are a personality. It doesn't matter how many people follow you, but even if one follows you for your writing, you have a responsibility in terms of engagement. And eventually you'll get your crowd, right? So I'm sure that so publishing means a lot of responsibility from that perspective. So there's a social
Sure.
responsibility in publishing. And it's important that a writer understands that when you publish. And publishing means top quality writing. You can't take your it's not just a blog that you write and just file away. Publishing is a very very responsible milestone in a writer's journey. So
Yeah.
there's more to writing than once you're published. That's what I think.
Mhm. Exactly. So being an author itself, that comes with a lot of responsibility, and and of course, it's a great sense of achievement, because you are going to indirectly influence a lot of people out there, and somehow book is by far the powerful medium, of course, to reach to anybody, to any part of the world. So that's a wonderful job being an author, and yeah, it's a great sense of achievement as well. So how do you get your ideas, Mr. Ashok? So poetry is something like it just like how you said, it just flows very smoothly. It's not a typical fiction writing or non-fiction writing where you research on the subjects and then put it down. Poetry is something you have to naturally get it. So how do you get the ideas for that? And I mean, yeah.
Um, uh, I think okay. So ideas for poetry are random. There's no specific idea. It could be some news bit I have seen, or I have seen
Mhm.
some event outside the road, or I would have seen a flower, I would have seen a sunrise, or some random thought, some worry in my mind. So
Okay.
the inspiration could come from anywhere. And generally it's a flash, and
Mhm.
recording that flash is the essence of poetry.
Okay.
Of course, there are poems where I have, sat and wept when I wrote. Those are emotional poems also,
Mhm.
which are very personal. But we take the personal element out so that the first draft is always personal, but when you edit it a bit, it sounds that it's for everybody. So some poems are really painful. It could be an event that you see, or it could be your own pain coming out. So um, uh, so I think the inspiration is everywhere, within and
Mhm.
without.
Yeah. Okay, so while writing this poem or poetry, whatever, so is there any specific challenge that you faced, and it kind of disturbed your writing, and you really have to focus back and things like that. So, are there any challenges like that have you faced?
Shweta?
Uh, so it's like Ashok said, we write irrespective.
Mhm.
It could be or news. Hello, because it
Hello.
says
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have connection issue.
Your voice is
Hello?
yeah, your voice is breaking a bit, Shweta.
Still, or is it better right now?
Yeah, just go on. Continue.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So there happened a poem about an incident which happened.
Mm-hmm.
Was brutally raped. An incident followed.
Mm-hmm.
I gave it posting in a particular XYZ group, and they said you cannot post this and political, and this could be people.
Okay.
It might hurt in the incident. Then move people. The poem would move them.
Mm.
If the poem untitled, the poem is still untitled. I have not given the title to the poem. Because what title would you give
Okay.
to an instance like that? So there are a couple of
Yes.
poems like incidents which move you.
Mm.
Those are the challenges. They are the things that
Okay.
made you. You write on them, but you cannot publish them because so
Hmm.
and so. Uh, so
Oh,
whenever that happened, I like that. I don't type. Because I want
okay.
to be true to my writing. I want myself than
Mhm.
proving good or bad to anybody else.
Awesome. Beautiful. Okay, so finally, for my audience, for our audience, any one of you could, reach out to any of your poems.
Okay. Mm,
I'm not carrying the book, so Ashok to
sure. So I'll read two snippets of two poems. This is a poem called "A Piece of Land." So it talks about how modernistic minds strive to build, build a, what you call, materialistic life around riches. But when
Mm.
you go away, you don't carry anything with you. So the title is Piece of Land. It's a place that I live, I covet and decorate. When all I need is a bed and a blanket, a stove to cook, and a roof over this all to protect from the storms, lightning, and rains. Over the ages, the land beneath has been dug and laid and arranged neatly like my wife's braid. From a plain land to a producing farm, now divided by fences, with a house and a barn, with a green meadow, a tree throwing shadows, adding a study and a studio, a dining table and a patio, a fully stocked bar and a garage with swanky cars, playing to the human capers. I own this on a piece of paper. When all I need is a bed and a blanket, a stove to cook, and a roof over this all. For when I shall finally go, I don't carry the house or the keys with me on my journey towards the rainbow. So this is one of the poems I wrote.
Beautiful.
I'll read one poem from Shweta just to you know.
Yeah.
I'll take a minute on that.
Sure.
This is a poem. What stops me? Um, a thousand times I wanted to ask and inquire, when did it die? Everything between us. Did it die or was it killed? Who? Did you or was it somebody else? A thousand more times I wanted to ask, where, when. And I didn't see it coming, or did I? When I started turning cold and I still wanted to hold every passing moment, every damn memory. A thousand times I wanted to ask, are the mornings and nights still the same? Or something is amiss? Do you too feel the pain? Do you miss these coffees and tete-tete between ice and soul? And just a few times, I want to confess, I miss all these and more. That my soul cries, heart bleeds, and ears pour, and with a thud, get reminded of the lies, cheats, the betrayal, and the third angle, maybe fourth. And you know what stops me? My self respect.
Beautiful.
So this
That was lovely. That was beautiful.
this
Seriously. Yeah, that was amazing, amazing. Like how you said, you and Shweta shared, these are like, very much understandable. It doesn't have a typical poetic language, which is, hard to read without dictionary. So this is very, very, very beautiful and, yeah, very emotional as well. Thank you so much. Just can't. I will definitely buy this book and read. And by the way, this is available on Amazon. And how is it like? Where can we source this?
Amazon,
You can buy from
Flipkart,
Amazon.
and
At
Hybros website,
Okay.
Odyssey.
and Odyssey Bookstore, Chennai.
Ah,
You can
okay.
buy it from Hybros online website also.
Okay, okay, great. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen, from all of us and from Pekka Book. That was a beautiful compilation of poetry. Today we have got the sample of two beautiful poems, and we understand how and what more the book has in for us. So let's not delay anymore. Let's take it. Let's go get the book and enjoy reading it. Thank you so much, Mr. Ashok and Shweta, for being with
Thank
us
you.
today and sharing your
Thank you.
experiences and your knowledge. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for now. Thank you.
Thank you.